What is going on with Steve Harvey? I'm saying, what is going on with the one and only Steve Harvey? It's a lot of conviction, not completely, and yet it seemed like it's almost on the way. Did I say that? Maybe I need to clean that up. I might need to, in fact, take my PR skills to usage with even that, as in marking up what I just said. But yeah, like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might, in fact, want to choose not to lose on even the spin with that. Let me tell you. So yeah, when it comes to Steve Harvey and these unfortunate widows, in which yes, that's a choice by name, my own, because to be creative is to not really include my own, such as own, and yet I'm not Oprah Winfrey, and yet I could be, I should be. No, that's a joke. Take it as a joke, as in the joke stands for what it is, right? But yeah, so who? Yes, a who and a why and a what pertaining to Steve Harvey, the man himself, right? Let me state this right quick. If we can get this right. This is in fact a bit of an old story that jumps back to the time period of, say, somewhere around March, April 2018, and even before, because it have old drama. I was gonna say between a twin flame, and yet this ain't right. That's the wrong choice of words. To have some issues between two individuals is to say you know it's going to be there, as in sometimes untold, and then what comes out later just drops out. I don't mean Janet Jackson in the Super Bowl, no. But yes, when it comes to Steve Harvey, is it or is it not? Does it or does it not seem like Steve Harvey is constantly and has been in the news lately a lot more pertaining to legal, or over the years or something, a lot more pertaining to legal disputes and all the rest? This sort of stuff hasn't just popped up on the scene, on the playground, and said, hey, I'm a gigolo, baby, I'm standing here. No, with Steve Harvey and the issues with females and, say, the legal disputes and stuff. I think I'm completely correct about that. The longer I jump back on the flashback with even that. Right? And so, yeah, there's constantly some type of legal issue on the end of Steve Harvey, and I'm trying to understand why, and that's my opening question. I should have said that. And yet to take time is to drive slow. So let's go, right? So, is this story true? I allow you, the viewer, to decide after I, in fact, make the statement and the approach on even that, as in serving you the juice with that. So, okay, so supposedly Harvey is being sued for $5 million by the widow of Fred Rerun Barry. I couldn't even hardly get that out. Do you remember who he is? She's the widow, the woman, yes, of Fred Rerun Barry. Yes, S.C. Brown. Is it S.C. or E.C.? I'm going to say S.C., kind of like an essay, and yet not Mexican, or not even paperwork. So yes, S.C. Barry. Did I say Brown? My fault, I'm sorry. I hate to tarnish an image like that. I'm sorry, let me clean that up on the wrap up. Yes, S.C. Barry, the widow of Fred Rerun Barry from the TV show What's Happening. That's what I was getting at. She has decided to file a lawsuit seeking $5 million in damages from the Family Feud host Steve Harvey himself. $5 million in damages. In 2018, that don't really seem like a whole lot of money. It does and it doesn't, depending on your fun level, right? That don't really seem like, I'm thinking if I'm going to file a lawsuit against a Steve Harvey, I want to go, I was going to say to the grave, but not that far, right? As in taking a shovel and, yes, digging as much as I can, even in a Steve Harvey's pocket, something like that. That's off the hook, though. $5 million. I love Steve Harvey, I in fact do, and yet I had to use even him for an example, as if you're going to file a lawsuit with even that, you might want to go and aim much more deeper, and I don't mean in the pants in the middle. No, in the pocket. Corner pocket to be exact. To be exact, corner pocket, did you get that? But yeah, so Barry, this woman, she's a civil rights activist. She branded herself as that, is what I'm trying to say. That's what she loves to call herself, a civil rights activist. She states she was harassed by Harvey as well as bullied and stalked by him. Steve Harvey, I wouldn't even think that Steve Harvey would have enough time on the hands enough to even be able to jump up and swing with that sort of thing. Does that or does not make sense? I don't mean swingers, no. I'm thinking, would Steve Harvey, or would he not have been able to do that sort of thing? Use up all the time in the day to stalk and harass this woman, despite him having TV shows, and then he have a radio show and all the rest, right? So where does a Steve Harvey fit in the time to do all this sort of thing in which this woman is speaking on? The only way I could see something like that happen in a stalking and harassment from Steve Harvey over to Miss Berry. Yes, the widow of Freddie rerun Barry, from What's Happening. The only way I can see that sort of thing taking place is if he hired somebody to do that sort of thing. And yet I'm thinking even they will be too busy at work as well. Unless he hired somebody from the mafia. Maybe that was one of these cases where Steve Harvey put some mafia man up to a good deed to try to rid her off by threatening her. Yeah, by threatening and the personal attacks that come with that sort of thing. I can't see no Steve Harvey hiring no average everyday working woman and man up under him to do that, because they already got too much work to do. Which is why I asked you, the viewer, if this story is true. That rhymed, in case it did. So, all rounds, yes, of what I just stated, the bullying, harassment, and stalking went on for 5 years. That's what Barry is stating that she had to endure for 5 years. By ways of a Steve Harvey, the man that sits above, in the photo op. Miss Berry states she was forced into hiding, and she too was forced to hire a around-the-clock bodyguard after Steve Harvey, yes, Steve Harvey at all, supposedly intimidated Berry to the 3rd degree. This just don't seem like Steve Harvey. You never know what you're working with, even behind the scenes, even if you're not on a set working with an individual, even in a Hollywood, right? So from all these personal attacks, harassment, stalking, and bullying Miss Berry received, yes, on her end, from his end to hers, right? So she had to hire, once again, a around-the-clock bodyguard because of all this intimidation in which she felt she wasn't able to take, right? And on top of this whole stuff has been fueled, yes, because even Steve Harvey, his now ex-wife Mary Vaughn, if you don't know who she is, look her up. Their crazy divorce has something to do with this. Mary Vaughn's divorce, yes, from a Steve Harvey, supposedly has something to do why supposedly Mr. Harvey has been threatening Miss Berry. His divorce is the answer of why, right? And so see, Berry, she in fact supported Mary Vaughn divorcing Steve Harvey. So when you're a woman and your name is yes, Miss Berry, and you support Mary Vaughn, the now ex-wife of Steve Harvey, if you support them being in divorce, is to say something can follow after that, and possibly harassments and attacks or something. Attacks. Don't ask me if this is true. I'm just here to analyze. I was gonna say annihilation. I do murder analysis and all the rest, and yet I don't even think murder is coming for Steve Harvey, and yet I just wanted to do this up close very quickly with that sort of thing. Barry filed papers in a California court, Los Angeles, yes, claiming Harvey is close friends and companions. Yes, his close friends and companions, yes. They began threatening Barry and several family members, yes, as well. Back around the year of 2013. To be a male and you divorce somebody and somebody support that is to bring your family in and your close companions and friends and all the rest and just have everybody threatening a Miss Barry and make the year 2013, right? That's off the hook. That's scandal. So yes, Barry proclaims she fears for her life and she feels she's been blacklisted from Hollywood because of a Harvey. She also feels he thinks he's, yes, too much more highly, yes, than everybody else. What? That ain't right. Did she say that? Yes, she in fact feels that he in fact puts his stuff too much on a pedestal on which he shouldn't be. That's all she was trying to say. And along with that is the suits and the ties, yes, and carrying on with that, what Steve Harvey loves to do on the TV screen, and how she chooses to perceive even him with that sort of thing. The exalting of yourself and all that. She says when Steve Harvey does all that, yes, the putting on the show and all that other stuff, and him exalting himself and him being too full of himself, what she stated out her own mind is like witnessing the mafia in action. The mafia in action. Didn't I just mention that in the beginning? That's the way that she feels. So Barry's original suit, as in the original filing of a suit or lawsuit and all the rest, right? Barry's original suit was filed March 2018. Because once again, she feels Harvey's sole intention is and was to damage her, not only her character, but her reputation as well. Why would you want to do that? Did I skip a page? I sure did. So Barry, let me get back to this. Let me jump back on a twist with that. Roll down the window, homie, and swerve while you're at it. So Barry stated Harvey's ongoing bash campaign from his end to hers included Harvey taking to YouTube. What? Steve Harvey got on YouTube. He was using YouTube right here on the platform with his dark, sinister voice, as in what he would put on, despite the smile. He was suited and booted with that, with the threats towards her. That's like a shoot a dart and yet shoot it halfway. I'm saying you shoot something and yet the public can't see it. I didn't see any of that online. Maybe y'all missed out on even with that, the mismanagement on my end. So he made videos on YouTube, yes, with this dark and sinister voice, with the threats and all that, and then he also included an image of a burning flame. Whatever that means. So question. Did the supposed flaming image Harvey portrayed to Barry, does that mean he was going to end her life by setting her on fire, or did the flame image itself mean lust in the elderly doing the deed? Did you get that? What did the image pertaining to all this mess in relation to, yes, Barry and Harvey and him doing that in video format, using that dark and sinister voice towards her with that image of a flame? What did that mean? Did that mean that he wanted to or wants to end her life by setting her on fire? Or did that flame image mean lust between two elderly individuals? That's funny from my end to both of theirs. The lust aspect. Because what comes out of supporting people in divorce? Possibly fights and picking fights and all the rest, right? But that question I just did ask, I'm asking once again, do these two individuals have a thing for one another or something? Or did they in their former years, even during the time when even he was married to Mary Vaughn? And could that be why the hate is there between one another and all the flames, where it fits in the imagery, right? I'll allow you, the viewer, to decide why these individuals is going hard in the paint and backstabbing one another at face for everybody to see. At that age, that sort of thing kids usually do, and yet who knows, right? So yeah, it does help to know who your friends are, and yet I can't tell if these two, if they were friends or what they were, because even that was before my time, somewhat slightly. Steve Harvey is much in age, as well as Miss Berry. Does it get that far where you gotta file? That's just off the hook. Does it get that far where you gotta file numerous reports to local law enforcement to restrain the defendant from his excessive harassment, making Barry feel more victimized as all was happening? What is going on? This better not be no Harvey Weinstein all over in the cover of Black. No shield with that, as in what I just said, right? But yeah, the ending piece is Mr. Harvey has denied all allegations rendered by Miss Berry. And Harvey feels both Barry and his ex-wife, Mary Vaughn, are working together as a duo to tarnish his image. That's what Steve Harvey himself, the one and only Gunner, right there. Gunner. That's mafia too. Steve Harvey do in fact carries and represents himself almost like he's the mafia, with the suits and the ties and all. That's why she said that sort of thing too. But yeah, that's what he denies everything. The man himself, Steve Harvey, the one and only, denies everything. He just feels that they're trying to conspire against him to tarnish and damage his image. And yet all this looks like a back and forth war, because see, on her end, Miss Berry, the civil rights, yes, advocate, activist. Well, I said advocates almost, because to speak out is to be an advocate as well, but that's not the same thing. To be Miss Berry, yes, and be a civil rights activist, and then feel like Steve Harvey is tarnishing your image, right? It's to say he's doing the same thing, calling you out for what you doing. You trying to tarnish his image, or so it's been said, or something, right? That's a mess in itself. These people is a little bit too old for even that. Like they used to say back in the old day, too old to poot. I don't know if the pooting is involved, and yet I would say maybe some pampers. Some elder pampers or something with that sort of thing, as in sit down. Sit down, what they say in the Bible, or is that a song, Lost and Found? Was that Amazing Grace? I can't remember. And yet they about up in age enough to even know about that. Steve Harvey and Miss Berry, Lost and Found. Sit down on the ground with even that, with the elder pampers and briefs, would go with all that instead of calling each other out, right? And if that sort of thing is true on the end of Harvey, he might in fact need to fix that sort of thing, right? Well, women don't take too well, and I don't blame them with that sort of thing being victimized, as in, yeah. The Steve Harvey show. That's not gonna work with that sort of thing, because even many executives don't like that sort of thing. That type of thing in the end will lead to some disaster, and it has to, because that's to make you question who is Steve Harvey signed up underneath. Remember, what, the Jews? When people ask, well, does the Jews run the industry? Jews run the world. Shouts out to all even that, right? But with that sort of thing, you in fact put even them in harm's way pertaining to your doing scandalous activity with that sort of thing. taken advantage of, say, if that sort of thing is at work or at play, with even a Steve Harvey victimizing even a Barry, that woman. If you do that sort of thing, corporate, because see, yes, you do in fact have various black owned businesses, right? And yet once again it's to ask, well, where are the funds coming from? These black owned businesses, where are they getting the funds and all that to fund and fuel the fire of keeping your business open and all the rest? See where I'm going with this? There always has to be someone up above, much more higher than a Steve Harvey. That sort of thing can yes, impact what's the word? Hinge on property, as in you being a loose property, as them possibly letting you go despite you having and running your own things. And I'm not just speaking about him, but others that wouldn't want their foot in that, because there could be a loss of sales with that sort of thing. You being a Steve Harvey and say you got your own show, and then you got people way at the top, even above that the public don't know about, that don't way at the top. The men up above ain't gonna want. That's to say you're gonna become a sideshow. Sideshow Bob, was that the character on the Simpsons or something? That sort of thing ain't gonna work for long. I don't think for even a Steve Harvey. I'm thinking he would want to clean that up too. Because yeah, you might in fact get walked all the way out the door with that, when no gentle approach served to you while they're doing it. Yeah. Not many people know that, who's way at the top, right? Footing funds and all that, so you can keep spending, not spending money, no, spending with the business and all that, right? Because see, what that sort of thing will look like is as if the corporations or banking institutions or whatever were, or anybody, investors, it'll make it seem like they in fact support that sort of thing. As in a male, and not more so a black male, no, just a male period, victimizing a female. Even investors wouldn't want to play a part of that. And even sponsors wouldn't want to play a part of that either. Running TV shows and airing them knowing that you got sponsors behind the scenes somewhere, they will more likely pull that. And pull everything else, such as ads and advertisements and all that, depending on Steve Harvey, where he has his stuff even online. Those businesses, sponsors, investors, all the rest, they will pull everything from up under him, the rug and all the rest, if he's victimizing people in that way. Yes, because Hollywood is known for that type of thing too. You can get over on people and victimize people and shame people in the process, right? And yet when it comes to males versus females, that's not really a good look. Because I already said that the sponsors, it'll make it seem like sponsors support that sort of thing, which will make consumers, if a Steve Harvey has a TV show and say he's running a dishwashing liquid commercial or something, right? Sponsors, advertisers, all that plays and pays into all that sort of thing, right? And so consumers, they look at that, even if it's on YouTube, wherever, right? Anywhere Steve Harvey's face is shown. That's to say consumers will more than likely pull the plug on that, such as look at the sponsors more so than they're looking at Steve Harvey. They would look at the man doing the bad deed, but they would look too at those sponsors and not support the sponsors or buy from them. And that's a loss of money and funds on the end of sponsors, advertisers, and all the rest, which is why a lot of things get pulled with that, even a way, and could be from a Steve Harvey, because nobody wants to lose no money based off of even something like that. Helps to do the right thing with a big name like that. I'm saying people have scandals like this and yet they keep it hush and keep it secret, celebrities, and yet sometimes it ain't ways to keep it on the hush, right? which is how it gets out. That's off the hook. Well, God bless to America with even that. I'm saying the figure out thing with that. So, recommended for you, Homicide Hunter, Lieutenant Joe Kenda, right here, the description. Add to your favorites. Shouts out to Paula. Yeah, she got cases for days with even that. Shouts out to you, baby. So, Fatal Vows, Evil Lives Here, Blood Relatives, Twisted, Red Rum, American Monster, The Perfect Murder, Someone You Thought You Knew. It's going down. Unlocked episodes, To Catch a Killer, Season 1, Episode 1. Twisted Sisters, Season 1, Episode 1. Blood Runs Code, Season 1, Episode 1. What Lies Beneath, Season 1, Episode 1. Twisted, Season 7, Episode 3. Murder by Numbers, Season 2, Episode 3. The Last Defense, Season 1, Episode 1, expiring in 17 days. Ooh. You see that where that popped up on my screen? That was the thing of what I spoke on pertaining to the lock and you getting in based upon your provider. I accidentally clicked that sort of thing to make a boo-boo as I say oops in the mouth with even that. And I don't mean Britney Spears, no. I didn't do it again. I just did it once. So yeah, Fatal Vows on last night. What's live right now is your worst nightmare. I said the worst nightmare. Possibly that too. After you watch it, right? It's gonna be the worst nightmare for you. So yes, your worst nightmare is on live right now, right? Fatal Vows. If you want to get in on this, to fit in on even that, is to click it, and then it's going to ask you for your provider in relation to TV and all that, right? As in who you go with, and that's how you're going to get in. What? It's like the velvet rope. It's one side and then it's the other side. Some people get in, other people locked out. Not everybody's going to make it. Something like that. ID series, Twisted, Pamela Smart, Missing Pieces, Most Evil Ranked. I already went through a few of these. Dead North, The Interrogation, Women in Prison, Real Talk, Murder Calls 911. Schedule preview. You can click around on that for the full schedule, and it would in fact greet you. The crime feed, to click this is to end up on lockout, but not completely, where when you click this it's going to take you to the other side. And I don't mean on the other side like flipping a Rubik's Cube on his head. No, it's going to take you out the door to crimefeed.com, which is our crime feed discoveries at that. Yes, exact. That rhymed and it should. So yeah, the newsletter, you click, not really click, but you type in whatever your email address is, and then you click next, and it's going to in fact send you a newsletter from Investigation Discovery. I think that is all for now. I think I've said enough. I probably bored some people in the process with even this Steve Harvey situation, because this is seeming to become a regular. I'm saying back in the day, TV show eras before the era, right? But to air out, right, is to say, but all this scandal like this wasn't all big and gigantic. This is like Bill Clinton type of, not completely Bill Clinton, Watergate type of. It's becoming that big pertaining to Hollywood, yes. The news reporter, even that. So let me know. My dog is about to start barking, which is mean I gotta turn the channel. And I'm gone.